Thanks very much, Phil. Can you see my slides okay?
We can, yes, thank you.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm here this afternoon with colleagues from the Open University, and we're going to talk to you about how we are embedding critical and responsible AI literacy into our teaching, learning, and assessment. So I'm going to start by taking you through two different frameworks that we've developed at the Open University, and this is in response to the growing need to go beyond kind of top level institutional policies and instead expand that into building sustainable, ethical, and inclusive approaches to AI integration. And as such, as I said, we've got these two frameworks that we're going to share, and we do have external facing versions of these frameworks, which I'll pop in the chat. And I'm going to talk you through them now. There's Responsible by Design, which is a reflective tool for ethical curriculum design. I'm a learning designer, so I've been involved in developing that tool. And more broadly, we've got another framework, the Critical AI Literacy Skills Framework, which was co-created by various colleagues across the institution. And this is a student and staff-facing tool that focuses on skills development specifically through the EDIA lens. And we'll show you this afternoon not only what these frameworks aim to achieve, but how we're actively embedding them in course and assessment design. So to start with the Responsible by Design framework, this is a tool that aims to help course teams to interrogate ethical concerns. We've deliberately kept it very simple to use. There's only four pillars: environmental impact, encoded bias, exploitation of both people and resources, and the digital divide. There's also a practical solutions bank which supports concrete implementation of ideas. To give you a concrete example, in a recent review of some module team content that I took part in, the activity asked every student on the course to generate an AI image. Now, obviously, this has environmental implications. So our advice to the team was to get students involved in creating the prompts, but then for only the course team to create the actual images, and then the students could critique those. So we're moving from a position where it's not just about what's possible with AI, but what's responsible. And as we work in this space where we're trying to encourage AI use, we need to find ways to explicitly foster responsible use. And that's what this framework gets to the heart of, really, in a very, very practical way. The second framework is the Critical AI Literacy Skills Framework. Now, this is grounded in critical digital literacy and EDIA principles. There are 6 domains to this, which you can see on the screen there: AI concepts and applications, learning and teaching with AI, ethics, creativity, AI in society, and careers. Um, Crucially, we treat AI literacy here as a social practice, not just technical skill building. This means helping students to question, reflect, and engage ethically with AI, not just use it. And again, we offer concrete how-to guides that map these domains to teaching and assessment tasks. So although it's a student-facing document primarily, there is a section specifically for staff to support them in translating these ideals into practice. So let's have a little look at that now. How have we moved from creating frameworks to actually putting it into practice? So we've done various targeted interventions with course teams and through more general staff development. We've developed lots and lots of resources to support AI integration, such as using external things such as Lydia Arnold's AI and conversation starter cards, and we've aligned those with our own institutional frameworks. We've built a suite of resources based on Mike Sharple's AI roles that encourage reframing AI as a thinking partner. We're also embedding AI in authentic discipline-specific tasks, and you can see an example on this slide where students use Gen AI to explore bias in texts, or they might simulate ethical dilemmas, and so on. We've put together lots of workshops for different faculties and schools and curriculum teams where we actively reference the principles from the frameworks to try to move staff along that continuum and take them on that journey by modelling, how to do these things. And we've also created lots of supporting materials such as infographics on the carbon footprint of AI to again provoke reflection. And what we're trying to do is specifically tie it down to things that are meaningful to people. So just like we wouldn't think twice now, hopefully, about going into a supermarket and buying a single-use plastic bag unless we really needed it. It's that kind of attitude, stop and think, do I need to use AI for this? Is there an alternative? Is it the best tool in the bag for me at this moment? And we're starting to see staff taking these ideas on board and embedding those kind of critical reflections into module material. And we've got examples where people have done things like rework assessments to shift from fact-based summaries to reflective AI critiques. And these have been directly prompted by the framework's ethics and creativity prompts and domains. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Dr. Michelle Vermelinger, who's going to talk to you now a little bit about staff and student guidance that also underpins all of this.
Thank you, Eleanor. So, complementing the frameworks, we have developed guidance on safe and purposeful use of AI. And this includes paying attention to copyright issues because we produce textbooks for most modules, and to using AI as a reasonable adjustment due to our high proportion of students with a disability. For staff, we suggest changes to questions that could make them more robust to AI based on a cross-faculty research project, and the link is there, and we'll put it in the chat. We have also distilled good practice of assessment design into 10 principles. For students, we suggest how they can use AI for learning, including examples of prompts and a list of self-reflection questions that encourage awareness of their purposes for using AI beyond just compliance. So the aim of our guidance is really not to be prescriptive or procedural, but together with the frameworks to help change mindsets and discourse from detect and punish to educate and prevent, and also from thinking about which tools to allow to what we want to use AI for, because ultimately we want AI to complement and not replace the human interactions. Next slide, please. So frameworks and guidance are not enough for change to happen. So we built a multi-layered support network. So we have run over 50 workshops and presentations engaging all faculties, and assessment redesign workshops for the whole institution. Staff have reported increased confidence in designing with AI after these sessions. We have a dedicated mailbox, we have faculty-based AI champions, and a community of practice that meets monthly to share and discuss the uses of AI, not just for learning and teaching across the university. We also have created the AI Exploratorium, which is a space for cross-faculty collaboration, and we are already seeing some shift towards an inclusive student-centered design. It's also important to be clear with colleagues and students that frameworks and guidance can't be black and white, or they can't be oversimplified because of all the nuances and complexity of the issues surrounding AI. And it's also important to focus that the practices can't be fully normalized due to the difference in subjects. We are also mindful of the need for pastoral care, and this includes providing resources with actionable advice and practical examples, but also understanding the current attitudes of staff and students, and trying to gently nudge some mindsets over time. Next slide. So we're holding also space for critical questions. So how do we ensure integrity in a world of AI-enhanced learning? How do we reach everyone at all levels from access to postgraduate courses? So we are currently planning to hold a 2-week fiesta in September, where staff can choose from a menu of AI-related workshops. How do assessment criteria reflect acceptable AI use? So we are actively encouraging course teams to rewrite their marking criteria, and with AI in mind, and we've produced some generic AI marking guides. And how might we co-design AI literacy with our students and not just for them? So we are exploring how students can play a more active role in shaping AI literacy and not just be recipients. So these are our current live questions and ones we are keen to explore further. And so the challenge ahead is really to embed these principles at scale due to the number of our students and while staying true to our values of ethics, equity, and pedagogical purpose. So we don't have a checklist, but we have hopefully a mindset, a conversation, and a growing community of practice. Thank you very much, and we are happy to take any questions or reflections.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, some great reactions coming in there. So we do have one or two questions coming in. If you do have a question and we have time, then please raise your hand and maybe we'll come to you because we have about 3.5 minutes left. So we have a question here from someone, and they've said, how do you address the cognitive cost to students of using AI? So the way it potentially could shortcut thinking. Many thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question, but I think we try to scaffold. We talk a lot about scaffolding at the moment with our course teams and making sure that any exposure to AI is done in a very stepped fashion so that students are taught critical thinking. And I think the advent of AI is making us all rethink how we teach critical thinking. I heard an interesting comment recently that those of us who already have that skill set to be able to analyze, evaluate, synthesize, the higher order thinking skills, we can function in an AI world because we know what to do. But those who aren't, maybe younger students or students, many of whom are our typical students at the OU who are returning to education later in life and maybe don't necessarily have that skill set, that's much more of a challenge for them.
That's great. Thank you. We do have probably time for one question. So if you do have a question you'd like to, if you'd like to raise your hand, you can ask your question. Mike, I'll unmute so you can ask your question. You go ahead, Mike. Sorry, Mike, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Okay, I'm there now. Yeah. When people tell someone the limitations, that's different than understanding the limitations. So how much technical understanding do you think someone needs to really understand what's going on? We've had a discussion about the difference between hallucinations and bullshit, for example. So how much technical understanding do you think people require?
I think some technical knowledge is required too, because to understand the symptoms, you need to understand the causes of why the tools are behaving that way. So I think some technical knowledge that these are mostly language models, how they are trained, on what they are trained, is needed because that gives them a deeper understanding of what they are observing in the behavior of the models.
So how is that being done at the OU? How is that? How are students being given that knowledge?
So at the moment, it's not it's part in the student guidance. There is a little bit, but we definitely need to work a little bit more on that. And it's also about how do you give that technical knowledge because for a computing student, probably it's easier to impart a bit more of that knowledge and going even deeper, especially if it's in a AI qualification, and then, for example, in other disciplines.
Our library services team offer a suite of courses about AI from understanding basics through to prompting with AI and ethical considerations and so on. So there are student-facing courses available for all students.
That's great. Thank you so much. We're going to have to stop there, I'm afraid, in the interest of keeping to the agenda. But again, thank you both so much for your presentation. And sorry, Michael, for Michelle, sorry for saying Michael at the start, but yes, thank you so
No
much.
problem.
That was a great talk. Thank you.